This is why you're not happy. You smile in pictures, laugh in conversations, and go through your days doing what you're supposed to do, but deep down, you feel empty. You wake up tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. It's not because you're ungrateful. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're chasing the life the world told you to want and ignoring the life your heart was made for. This isn't just a bad week, it's a wake-up call. You're not unhappy by accident. You're unhappy because you were made for more. And deep down, you know it, you're not crazy, you're just numb. You've been asking yourself the same question for a while now. Why am I not happy? You look around and realize you've got the things people told you would make you happy: a job, maybe a family, a place to live, a phone full of contacts, and a calendar full of appointments. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside, you feel disconnected, numb, tired in a way sleep can't fix, and you're not alone. Right now, millions of people are walking through life silently aching for something more, something real, not just dopamine hits from social media or a fake smile for the group photo. No, something that feels true, something that makes their heart come alive again. This speech isn't going to give you shallow solutions. This is about digging deep and facing the real reason your happiness feels missing and what you can do about it. Let's begin with the truth that may hurt first but heal in the end. You're chasing the wrong definition of happiness. From the moment we were born, the world started telling us what happiness should look like: get good grades, get a stable job, buy a house, find a partner, have kids, retire comfortably. And while there's nothing wrong with those goals, they become dangerous when they're treated like the only formula for happiness. What if your soul craves adventure, but the world told you to sit in a cubicle? What if you're called to create, but you're buried under deadlines and data entry? What if you're deeply spiritual, but you've been taught to numb it for the sake of being normal? You're unhappy because your life might be successful on paper but misaligned with your purpose. You're not living from the inside out. You're living from the outside in, trying to fit into a life that was never yours to begin with. And the worst part, you feel guilty for not being happy even when your heart is silently screaming that this isn't it. But let me remind you, just because it makes others proud doesn't mean it will make you whole. You weren't created to copy someone else's life. You were designed to live yours fully. So no, you're not ungrateful. You're unaligned, and your soul knows the difference. You're living to please everyone except yourself. You say yes when you mean no. You show up for everyone, but you're rarely there for you. You've become the person everyone can count on, but when your heart breaks, you're alone in the silence. Sound familiar? One of the fastest ways to lose your joy is to spend your life pleasing people who would never bleed for you the way you bleed for them. You smile when you want to cry. You show strength when you're falling apart. You play the role but never get to be real. And here's the painful truth: you can't be truly happy when your entire life is a performance. Your happiness matters. Your peace matters. Your soul needs room to breathe. So many of us are living out someone else's expectations, of parents, as spouses, of bosses, but have never paused to ask, what do I want? Who am I really without the noise? Your unhappiness is not a flaw, it's feedback. It's your soul whispering, this isn't who I came here to be. The most dangerous form of emotional exhaustion is the kind you can't even explain because you've been carrying it for so long. It just feels normal, but it's not normal to be this numb. We're not put on this earth to be everyone's hero while silently drowning. You've forgotten to feed your soul. We eat every day to feed our bodies. But how often do we feed our soul? When was the last time you sat in silence, not scrolling, not running, not numbing, just breathing? When was the last time you prayed and really felt connected? When did you last lose yourself in something that made you feel alive? We live in a world that prizes productivity over peace. We are constantly plugged in but spiritually disconnected. And when we stop feeding our souls, we start feeling empty. Happiness doesn't come from more tasks, more stuff, more likes, or more money. It comes from soul-level nourishment, deep relationships, meaningful moments, connection to God, creativity, rest, purpose. But here's the problem. We've been told that if we slow down, we'll fall behind. So we keep running, burning out, drying up, and wondering why joy feels like a foreign concept. But hear me now, your soul isn't broken. It's just been ignored, and today is your invitation to start listening again. You're comparing yourself to a lie. Nothing steals happiness faster than comparison. Every scroll on social media shows a highlight reel: perfect bodies, perfect families, perfect lives. But what you're seeing isn't real. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's staged moment. No wonder you feel like you're not enough. Comparison plants this silent lie in your mind: if I had what they have, I'd be happy too. But the truth is, happiness is not about having what someone else has. It's about living in alignment with what you were created for. That person you envy, they have struggles you don't see. That lifestyle you want, it might be costing them their peace. Comparison is a thief, and it will rob your joy, your identity, and your focus if you let it. So stop measuring your worth by someone else's chapter. You're not behind, you're becoming. You're not too late, you're being prepared. You are exactly where you need to be to step into the next version of you. You've stopped believing you deserve joy somewhere along the way. You started believing that happiness was for other people. That joy was for those who had less trauma, less pain, fewer scars. You settled for survival. You learned to endure. You built walls to protect your heart. But in doing so, you also blocked out the light. Let me say this loud and clear. You deserve to be happy, not later, not when you're perfect, not after you prove yourself, now, not because you earned it, but because God didn't create you to suffer in silence your entire life. Yes, you've been through hard things. Yes, life has scarred you, but scars are not signs of defeat. They are reminders that you lived through what was meant to break you, and you still have breath in your lungs. That means your story isn't over. You can heal, you can laugh again, you can rebuild your joy one sacred, honest step at a time. Your heart is calling. Will you listen? Beneath all the noise, your heart has been speaking, not with words, but with longings. Longings to rest, to reconnect, to feel again, to breathe again, to return to God, to return to yourself. But we silence that voice. We keep busy, we numb. We hustle, we distract. But today, just for a moment, be still. Listen, your unhappiness is not random. It's a compass, and it's pointing you back home, to truth, to purpose, to peace, to God. Take your joy back. You're not broken. You're just exhausted from pretending. You're just drained from trying to be everything for everyone. You're just weary from living a life that doesn't reflect who you really are. But now you know you are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to take your joy seriously, because you only get one life, and God didn't breathe His Spirit into you so you could just exist. He created you to live fully, passionately, honestly. You were not meant to just wake up, work, repeat, and die. You were made for more, for purpose, for laughter, for connection, for God's presence, for deep, soul-level joy. But it starts with a choice, right here, right now. Come back to yourself. If this spoke to you, don't brush it off. Don't go back to sleep. Don't numb it out with another scroll, another show, another distraction. Instead, breathe, cry if you need to, pray, write, walk, speak, rest. Whatever you do, start showing up for your heart again. Start feeding your soul again. Start choosing joy, not the fake, filtered version, but the one that comes from living truthfully, vulnerably, and spiritually awake. And if you feel far from God, come back. He hasn't moved. His arms are still open. His joy is still available. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are loved, you are seen, and your joy still matters. So go not to chase happiness, but to return to it. It's been waiting for you the whole time.